I dropped a report for the full moon that we have coming up, and I was definitely getting a lot of different things. But one of the things I do want to kind of emphasize right now is the trust issues I was picking up on. All right, and it played out for me just now, which is what I'm about to talk about. So I'm at the park with my dogs, and it's just me and my dogs. They're like Velcro dogs. They're very clingy. They only trust me, and I only trust them, or so I thought. And so we get to the park today. They don't trust people at all. And they say people subconsciously pick their dogs based off of like their own personality. And so I feel like my personality is that of a Chihuahua because I have Chihuahuas. But anywho, we get to the park and there's like these other little Yorkies at the dog park. And we normally go off, like, I don't put them in the little dog park. Like, I let them kind of roam. Like, I like my dogs to kind of be free. I don't put leashes on them or anything like that. And so we're walking in, and there was like these three Yorkies, and my dog started to run away from me. And as I'm telling them to come back, come here, which they normally do, like very promptly. Like my dogs, I've never trained them. They're that clingy, or they trust me that much to where it doesn't matter where I go, they're gonna come with me or they listen like that. But this morning, that didn't happen. Winnie, Winnie. So they see the other dogs, and I guess they're scared of these other dogs barking. Mind you, they're Yorkies. They're the same size as them. And I'm telling them to come here. But my dogs want to react to the fear instead of the other dogs. And it's just like I started to get upset because it's just like, have I ever put you guys in harm's way? Like, you guys know, you guys know how I treat y'all. You guys know that we have this trust thing going on. So why aren't you coming to me as I'm telling you to come here? Why is your fear Why is your fear of these other dogs overpowering your trust and love and bond that you have for me? Have I ever led you astray? Right? So as this is going on, there's people looking at me because I'm telling my dogs, like, I'm not letting it go. Like, come here. I don't care about the noise that's going on behind me. Bring your ass here now. I don't care. Like, so I'm like trying to have a moment, and I'm pretty sure on the outside looking in, people probably just like, yo, this girl is crazy. Like, dogs don't listen, whatever, whatever. Like, but no, I know what's happening energetically. So I have to make it a point. Like, we established this bond, we established this trust. I've never, y'all have seen me even get into arguments and ready to fight over y'all. Like, nobody's gonna disrespect you. Like, the loyalty is there. Why are y'all not trusting me right now? Like, I'm getting real offended here. This is literally what my dogs were teaching me this morning. And so I literally was just like, you know what? Instead of getting mad, shipping them up, we're going home, fuck y'all. I had to sit there and make it a point, like, no, you bring your ass to me every time. I protect you. I love you. Bring your ass right now. Like, I don't care about your fear. I got you. And I showed you that time and year and year. Like, this is what's going on energetically with my dogs. And it just, to me, is in alignment with the full moon in Scorpio that we're experiencing tomorrow. All right. Like, it's just like with that Scorpio energy with the moon, it's just kind of like, yes, things are scary. Life is scary. This could even be in regards to a relationship because I have a relationship with my dog. So this could be in regards to relationships, Libra energy, going deeper with someone, developing a deeper bond, or having it or thinking you had a deep bond, with someone, and they prove to you that it may not be that deep. These are things that are coming up, that you're either going to have to let go of, you're going to have to kind of like reconcile, you're going to like, some people might run away, like my dogs decided to run away, but then I had to be that solid force. Like, no, I can sit here and let you run away and we can just leave the park right now. But no, we've built up this bond for 6-7 years. Like, we're going to prove this point right now. Like, we're going to do it right now. Bring your ass right here. Like, and I'm not moving. Those dogs behind me aren't moving. Bring your ass to me right now. Like it's kind of like I had to like show and prove, like, I've been that solid force for my dogs. Like, I know this may sound crazy, but there's lessons in everything, and that's the perspective, that's my approach to life. I look at every little thing as a lesson, and that's pretty much the vibe that I'm getting at this time. It's interesting because I'm at the park this morning, and they have like races going on, like a marathon, and I kept saying, and I know the North Node is retrograded, right now, and it's supposed to be direct. So the North Node is about, like, I compare it to like races, a marathon, ready, get set, go. We're all on the same path. There's just many paths within the same path, right? And it's giving me like a ready, set, go. So I feel like some of y'all ready, set, go energy is kind of like testing. You may be tested, or you may need to test a bond. You may need to test, or you're going to be tested on trust. All right. It's a lot of people spend their lives around certain energies, people, places, and things. And do you really know it the way you think? Do you really trust it the way that you think? You may feel like you're a solid force, you may feel like you're stable, you may feel like you're open and transparent, loyal, but it may reflect back to you. Maybe there's something lacking there. Like, so my dogs, I started getting offended because I'm like, well, did I fail you guys in any way? Like, why are these three Yorkies? Why do they have more power over my voice? Why is your fear overcoming who I've been to you guys for 6 years now? And I feel like this may be a theme in people's relationships. I don't deal with people at all. Like, so that's why my lessons come by way of animals. My Saturn's in Aquarius, so I look at people out, like I'm always on the outside looking in, trying to study things. Like, that's how I don't have interpersonal relationships with anyone at all. My phone contacts, I have about 4 or 5, and those, one is my mechanic, which he's kind of like a father to me, and then the other 3 or 4 is from work. So I don't talk to anyone. So my lessons come in unusual ways. But this is basically the vibe, is really what I'm getting at this time. All right. So on your marks, get set, go. Testing, testing. 1 2 1 2. Let me just show you all my babies. I'm also getting something too about backup plans as well, because I know I was cracking jokes this morning about my coffee, but it was just kind of like, if I looked at that coffee can as if like life, it would appear as if something is empty, just like my coffee can was empty, right? But the cup inside of that can said blessed. So it's like, even though I didn't see any coffee beans, or even though I didn't see any coffee, I don't really use the beans, it's the grounds. Even though there was nothing in there, there was still a cup inside of something that was empty that said blessed. So it's kind of like, it gives me that quote in the Bible. Was it, what is, not faith without works is dead, but it's the evidence of things hoped for, something not seen. No, not that one. It's faith, walk by faith and not by sight. That's pretty much the vibe. So that's another message that I'm getting here as well. Like, especially with this full moon in Scorpio, you don't necessarily see, a lot of people like to avoid the moon alone. And then you want to add Scorpio energy like that right there. I can see why there's fear, and I can see why people want to avoid it. I can see why they feel like it's murky, da 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 da. But it's kind of like, you want to go into that. Like, I could have easily allowed my dogs to feel murky. I could have easily allowed them to feel fear. Yo, look, they're off. That is so crazy. Literally, they're off right now. I could have went with that, like, let them continue to feel like they couldn't trust me, but I had to stand there like, no, what you are fearing is, you have nothing to fear. And it's like, I had to show my dogs that there's nothing for you to fear. I'm here with your asses. Like, you really think I'm gonna let something happen to you? You really think I'm gonna call you over here? And I know you're scared of these dogs. You think I'm gonna you think I'm gonna set you up? Like, I had to make it a point, like, I don't, bring your ass here. Like, this energy seems scary, it may seem overwhelming, like the moon is, right? It may seem scary, but come here. Like, you really truly can trust it. And if I look at this in a deeper level, I can just keep going. We just going deeper and deeper. This is also applying to yourself. A lot of people avoid who they truly are. They avoid their nature. At their nature, at their core, they're like my chihuahuas. They're fearful. You know, I resonate with my dog. So at my core, there's fear there, right? And you all bark, but no fucking bite. It's just like an energy where you are hyping yourself up, like being scared of yourself, being alone with yourself. Um, you know, get into the nitties of the gritties, like, racing, this could also just be running away from, people like to run away from who they truly are. Why? Because there's fear. That's the root of it. And I just feel like you guys need to be a standing source or a mountain to yourselves and really sit there like, I don't know. I don't know, like, be honest with yourself, like, tell yourself, you could trust yourself. Like, it's interesting because I'm trying to do this yoga thing yesterday, try to stretch, and, like, my body was really, really tight, and, like, I'm real weird about, like, injuries and things, like, that's just not I have a very low tolerance for pain. So I don't like pain. So I'm stretching, my body was hurting, and, like, as I was feeling cramps in my leg, I started to try to, like, ease up, but I needed to kinda ease into it more to get this cramp to go away. I was stiff, like, I was so stiff. And usually when there's a little bit of pain, I myself included, I will retract, I will pull back. You're like, "Oh, no, oh, no, That's another reason why people struggle with being active and working out because there is pain. People like to glamorize and fantasize working out and fitness, but it's pain. That's all you're doing. It's pain. Okay. Um, what the fuck was I about to say? Oh yes. So it was just like as I was stretching and like my leg was hurting more as I was stretching into the pain. I had to keep telling myself, Kristen, you can trust yourself. You can trust yourself. You can trust yourself. You can trust yourself. I had to keep telling myself this as I'm stretching. And the more I was telling myself that, I was able to go deeper into the stretch. Even though it was painful, I was still able to go deeper into it because I was telling my body, I trust you, I trust you, I trust you. Hey, Piglet, what are you doing? So my dog was just running after this lady. And the moment I said, Piglet, what you doing? She stopped. That just like that. So that's why the whole scene that they gave me this morning was like, what the fuck is going on here? What's going on? Anyway, so yeah, it's just like honestly, this full moon is jam packed, but it's mainly about trust issues. And I did a reading recently, and I think it was for Scorpio, and I said if you trust yourself, you can trust others, right? And in hindsight, you can only really get to know someone as deep as you know yourself, and this again brings me right back to my point that a lot of people don't know themselves. Hence is why a lot of the relationships that we see in the world are very surface level, are very superficial. It's stupid. To me, it's pointless. And the reason for that is because there's many people who do not know themselves. They're scared of themselves. And then you attract what you are. You would like attract like. So then you're going to attract someone who is just like that. They don't know who they are. They're scared of who they are. And then they project on someone else who isn't scared. It's like my dogs essentially were trying to project their fear onto me. And if I responded to that fear, we would have just went home and I would have just, did my, started getting into astrology and tarot and went about my day. But I had to sit there and test them. Like, you really don't trust me? No, we're not gonna respond to fear. We're gonna attack it right now. We're gonna face the fear right now. So I made my dogs face their fear right now. And that's pretty much the energy. Like, this is just what it is with this full moon. Either you're going to face that fear right now, or you're going to just continue carrying out your lives in fear and then acting like it's not fear that's motivating you. You're going to continue to attract people who cannot go deeper with you, they can't get to the root of things. They can't get to the root of themselves, and they certainly will not be able to get to the root of you. And I don't know about you, but me personally, with this full moon in Scorpio, I am only seeking deep and meaningful relationships, period. And as I mentioned before, I have about 4 or 5 contacts in my phone, so I have none. I have none. And that's the alternative, because there's majority of people, they're not willing to get to the root. They don't want to face their fear. They don't want to face themselves. So they can't face me. I'm not attracting them and they're not attracted to me. And you got to be okay with that as well. It's to me, I find this is very beautiful energy, very authentic, very raw, very raw. And I like that, I like this. But other people may be fearful of this, like my dogs are trying to run away and shit when any other time they appeared as if they trusted me. Shit is just getting exposed. People who claim to love you, and it's gonna get exposed if they don't. People who claim to love you, it's going to be exposed that they do. It just the fucking depends. And I really liked how that fuck depends. I'm going to have to insert that into my my weird, my little quirky vocabulary. But yeah, so that's what I have. And you see, they're just chilling, sitting by the dock of the bay. Peace. But do you still have that same energy when it's chaotic? So it's just, it's being true to yourself when no one's watching. It's being true to yourself when someone is. It's being true to yourself when you have someone, and it's being true to yourself when there is no one. Okay. My dogs need to have the same energy when there's mad dogs barking behind me. You still need to have this peaceful energy because you know I got you. You know I trust you. You know I love you. And you need to have that same energy for yourself as well. It's like no matter what's going on, you need to be firm for yourself and stand up for yourself and be that solid rock for yourself, that no matter else what's going on or who's attacking you or who's doing this and blah, 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 you are who you are. And you stand on that, even if that means being the fuck alone. At least it's peaceful. You get what I'm saying? Even if it's not peaceful and it's chaotic, you still maintain that peace. It's this is the moon right now is asking of a lot, and that's why, you know, there's going to be some who die and some who are reborn. It's just, that's just what it is. You know, this is giving sink or swim energy. You know, a lot of people were floating when the moon was just itself, but with that Scorpio mix up in there, this is sink or swim. Ain't no floating, bitch. You're not floating no more. All right, what you either sinking or swimming, motherfucker. That's just what it is. There's no more floating, all right? There's no more floating anymore. And if you try to float, that you're just going to default into sinking. There, it's either you're going to do or die. You're either going to sink or swim. That middle ground, that gray area that most people like to marinate and celebrate. Ow, they like to marinate and simmerate and celebrate up in. That shit is getting done away with, bruh. It's getting done away with. So you either sink because you can't handle your shadow, you can't handle the depth, you can't handle the dark, you can't handle the deepness, or you swim with the dark, you swim with the light, you swim of over water, you can swim underwater. Like, what you trying to do? I don't know about y'all, but I know how to swim. I like swimming underwater with my eyes open, and I certainly know how to be on top of the water floating too. I can do both. This is that energy. It's time to merge. That's what Scorpio energy is about as well. It's time to merge with yourself so that you can then merge with everybody else, you know? But if you don't want to do that, then everybody that you're attached to, including you, you're going to have to drown. This is literally like, you know, y'all, would you jump off the bridge with your friends? At this point, you don't have a choice. You're either going to jump off and we're going to see what happens, or you're just not going to jump and we're going to see what's happening. But there is no, I don't know what to do. That Libra indecisiveness, that's the gray area I'm talking about. And I think I mentioned that in the forecast. I was saying that Libra energy was essentially what needed to kind of be plucked out, the weeds, the snakes in the grass, that Libra people pleasing, compromising type of energy, indecisive. And this is coming from a Libra stellium, but I am progressing into a Scorpio 12th house stellium. So I'm talking shit about Libra, but I've been there. I've been that person that I'm talking about right now. But I'm transforming, right? So I can see it and I can call it out for what it is. That 7th house, and then that's Venus energy as well. You are what you attract. And then we already know Venus is well, some people don't. Venus is very superficial. There is no real love there. That's not genuine love. It's more about lust, and it's about attraction. It's also about infatuation, all of which, and then passion, but that's not long lasting. Just like my dogs getting mad and barking, da 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 da. But when it's time to actually do some action, they're not biting. So that's what that Libra energy is, like superficial. It's all talk, but there's no action. Scorpio's about that action. The 8th house requires action. So you either, it literally is do or die. If you stay in that Libra energy, then that means you're regressing. And if you're regressing, then that means you're in that sixth house of Virgo. And Virgo deals with illnesses and diseases and routines and things like that. And we already talked about Pluto is in Capricorn. In the sixth house, I'm sorry. Y'all are like, wait, where the Virgo? Yeah, it's in the sixth house of Virgo. So this is, again, do or die, period. You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to like me. But this is what the planets are saying. This is what the astrology is talking about. This is what's going on in the air. This is what's going on in the ego. I mean, in the ethers. This is what's going on in the solar system. This is what's going on. And it just is what it is. It just is what it is. This is the circles of life, the cycles of life. Most people resisted emancipation of slavery. Most people resisted women having rights. Most people resisted, I don't know. I mean, there's so many resistances that occurred in the past to stop transformation from happening, but it never was able to be stopped. So you might as well go with the flow. You might as well stop resisting what's already gonna fucking happen, because you're only gonna be hurting your fucking self. Like, just imagine you still holding on to this racism. We've been past that. Our ancestors been fought that battle. Just imagine your life and you want to hold on to something that's already been eradicated. That's pretty much how people live their lives. You either resist and make your life harder, you get sick after, like, to be racist, and I'm just using that as an example, you are creating hell within your body, because there's so many Black people, there's so many other races, really. So you're just going to live in a state of perpetual anger and hell because you just have to keep this racism energy that has been eradicated. And I'm just using that as an example. Stop holding on to things, thinking that it's going to change, or thinking that it's going to delay, or thinking it's going to stop the trajectory of where God is taking things. It's not. You might as well let the shit go, accept some shit, and let's move on. It's easier to accept racism. You can live your life and be who you are and live and let live, as opposed to holding on to racism. Now you are blocked. You can't go. That sucks, because I was talking so much in my battery. That is wild to me. Gotta go. Why? Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Let's go. Let's go.